One of the greatest challenges that you would go through when you are building your business is the early stage questions that you keep asking yourself. Most of which is because of what you've seen other entrepreneurs saying and talking about the business world. One of those issues is the issues of funding. Now, I receive a lot of questions and inquiries from people, sometimes even when they're asking for mentorship. The greatest concern is always the issue of the finances that I need to start the business. Now, the question I want to ask you this morning is, do you really know at what stage do you need the finances? I said this, that the way our mindset has been built, and I was explaining in some of my books that we have two different types of the business world. We have the conventional business world, we have the unconventional business world. When I wrote Think Like an Entrepreneur, Act Like a Prostitute, my mind was in and around looking at the top 5 businesses in the world, how they were structured, the business modeling of it, and how are they able to scale, and what is their level of understanding in terms of building a business that is built to last. And then you realize that our traditional way of doing business, which is the conventional one, which a lot of us here, when we trace back to where exactly was this mindset of how we are viewing the business world coming from, you realize that it comes from even how we were educated at business studies, for those of us who studied commerce and many business-related courses. They'll ask you the question of, do you know the 3 factors of production? And that's land, that's labor, and that's capital. So if you don't have an office where you're operating, then you don't have a business. And if you're in an office, you need to have people that are working in that business. And to have 2 of these things, you also need the finances to do this. And if you notice, when you go to, I have the privilege to sit on many, committees that are adjudicating the applications for finding, whether grants or loans, all of that. An average proposal of a business owner in the Republic of Botswana, probably even around the continent, it's always in hundreds of thousands. And most of the time it's because of when you read the business proposal, the business plan itself, what they need to start, you realize that a lot of us, we have boxed ourselves in the idea of saying we need to get the finances first, because when the finances are here, then we are able to build a business that can actually grow. You will be surprised that a business is not a business until one thing has been done. And that thing is securing your first sale. If you have a customer, you have a business. Now, when you have your business documents that you've registered at SIPA, you can be proud and because you feel like a sense of achievement and saying, I own a business and a company. When you have the company documents and the business documents that you have, you can also pride yourself in saying, I've secured my funding, $1 million pula, 100,000 pula, whatever amount of resource that you can have. But there are fundamental questions that if you don't have this answered, you don't really have a business. The reason why right now many people take years without starting because they think they don't have the money is because the issue is not the finances, the issue is the mindset. You don't need finances, you don't need money to start a business. I know this doesn't sound like the right kind of an advice to hear. You need finances, or you need the money, the funding to grow a business. Or maybe let me put it this way. You don't always need money to start a business, but you will always need money to scale and to grow the business. Now, to start, the fundamentals of starting here is that you are fresh in business. You've never run a business, you've never run a team, you've never built a product, you don't have any sort of experience in running the finances and the growth of the finances that they come. I don't know if you remember the scripture that's in the Bible that says, he that is faithful with little, he will be trusted with much. The journey of entrepreneurship, it's all about that. It's exactly what I said in the book, Think Like an Entrepreneur, that the shepherd or the head boy does not grow the cattle that they have or the goats that they have. They grow their ability to manage a certain number of cattle. And if you do so, the cattle themselves, they know how to produce according to their own kind. So if you grow your ability, your capacity to handle 100 will produce 200. Your part is not to focus on growing the cattle, but growing your capacity to handle the growth that is coming. my adjudication of many of what we talk about, which is a lot of business fail within their first 3 years or 5 years. The issue that a lot of us think is because maybe they didn't have the market, maybe they didn't have this. But my question, my observation is that what actually kills a lot of businesses is growth. Most of the growth is cancerous to some, because your business is growing, your clientele is increasing, but your mindset, your skills, your ability to lead, your ability to sell, your ability to re-innovate what you are doing to stay relevant is still stagnant. So this is why you as an entrepreneur, you really need to understand that when I'm saying you don't need the finances to start, it's because the experience of building the business from ground up by one customer that you serve right, and you are building your model and you are building your brand, and you are able to attract the second customer, and the second customer, these two brings four, and you are growing organically. There are things that are going to help you to build the product much better than you've ever thought it will ever be. Now, when you have a proof of concept, when now you can prove that I can sell this thing to this one person or two people, I have this client, I have that, I've realized that I don't actually have to cook these fat cakes this way, I've realized that I don't need to do this that way, and you've learned from all your mistakes, and now you are solid in knowing that I think the right way for me to go is that way. That's when you need something that is going to fuel you and power you to increase the impact of what you've built. And that's what funding is for. So if you are here and you have an idea and you are looking for investors, you are looking in the wrong places. Investors don't come to start the fire for you. The investors come to fuel the fire that you have, to grow it, to scale it. But investors will never put money in somebody that has not proven that there is viability in their product. Now, you can be so excellent at pitching and you can talk about your business in whatever way. I will forever respect the entrepreneur that has the ability to take the product that they've built and convince at least one person to buy that product. Because the truth is, the real people that grow businesses is not the investors, but the clients, the customers that buy from you, that support your journey, and that keeps giving you the cash flow that grows what you are doing organically. And what a story that would be for you to tell. Because you are able to realize that I have the ability, and this ability, when you say the ability to run a business, you're actually realizing that you have the ability to manage your growth, which is what we call the growth after the growth. And you sustain that growth continually. And the more you are faithful with the little, that becomes much, you'll be trusted with much more, and you will be able to scale even the more. That's what business and entrepreneurship is all about. I hope this thought helps you to realize that you don't have to wait for another person to come and give you the funding. If a bank rejects you, if a funding grant rejects you, whatever people that reject you with your financing, you have to turn around how you see this. They're giving you a single biggest blessing in life to go back and think about it and say, how else can I start this? Now imagine you took 1 million pula or $1 million on a business that looks good on paper, only for you to realize that there are some things that you have to rethink and relearn, or even stop this or do that, whatever it is. By the time you learn that lesson, you're already 1 million pula in debt. By the time you discover what you really need to do going forward, every mind that's coming into the business is going backwards into financing the debt that you have. You don't have to go through that journey. You can start now with what you have. And this is exactly what God said to Moses. What do you have in your hand? He said, I have the rod. God said, that's all you have. And this is exactly what I want to say to you. Whatever you have, your laptop, your kitchen, your car, whatever you have right now, God is not careless to give you a vision that there's at least not one thing around you that you can use to grow that business. So I will say to you, get out there right now. Get out there today and do something with what you have and see how it will amaze you.
With Manje Kutafalo, a refreshing breath of fresh thinking.